The views expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of this station.
Welcome to Insights into Northeast Michigan, a WBKB News public affairs program. Insights deals with the issues affecting those in the community as well as Northeast Michigan and the state. And now, Insights into Northeast Michigan.
Welcome to this week's episode of Insights. I had the opportunity to talk to Cindy Johnson, Amber Hess, and Sheriff Kalashevsky about the recent election in Alpena County. All right, so first and foremost, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How are you feeling? No problem.
Oh, go ahead.
How are you feeling after everything?
It's exciting. I think I was more excited last night as the write-in votes started to come in. For some reason, I don't know why, I just got really nervous. I started shaking, my mouth went dry, and I thought, why am I so nervous for the write-ins? But it was exciting to see who was going to come out on top of that.
Absolutely. And over the past 4 years, you've been on City Council. So what do you think your biggest and greatest accomplishments have been so far?
Well, in my opinion, I've had several that I'm kind of proud of, so it's kind of hard to pick one. But I think overall I've been really active in the community, responsive to the public, and a positive influence on council in general. So I'm proud of all of those things.
For everything you've accomplished, how do you define the success of those?
For me personally, it's the hard work that I put into whatever I do and the end product. But like last night, the voters voting me in again for 4 years is my reward. It means that they appreciate it too, and so I appreciate that. I'm humbled by the support that the community gives me. I truly am. Right,
being reelected, it is such a big honor. So with that being said, can you elaborate on how that does make you feel?
Like I said, I'm humbled. I mean, I'm just humbled. I tie my work ethic to what I do in council. So I come and I give it my all. And I would do that no matter what I was doing. But for the public to reward me with another 4 years, it's breathtaking when you think about it. To me, it is anyway.
Absolutely, it's a huge honor, and it's a humbling honor, actually. So jumping right in, what will you do for City Council in the city of Alpena, you know, personally, and the goals that you have for the city coming up?
Okay. Well, me personally, I'll continue to do the things that I have been doing for the last 4 years. I'm involved in a lot of committees. I hope to stay on those committees. IG Recycling, I'm super proud of the work that we've done there over the last 4 years. We've really moved that program forward and hope to continue moving that one forward. But just maintaining a balanced budget, working well with the other council members, just those sorts of things that move the city forward in a positive manner. Those are my goals, and as things come up, and there will be many things that come up along the way, we'll work through those. We'll do what's in the best interest of what we think for the city. So,
is there anything specific that you would like to work on for the city that you can see improve, or that you would like for it to improve or change?
Well, I suppose it depends on what you're talking about. I think we'll have some staff that will be retiring, so that'll be a big challenge for the city, because the staff that we have, that I currently work with and have enjoyed working with, they're wonderful. Some of those people will be retiring, so there'll be some really big transitions in the next couple of years. And to pick and find the right people for those positions that have Alpena's best interests at heart and keep moving us in the direction that we're going, that'll be one of my accomplishments, and all of council's in the next 4 years.
Absolutely. And you guys made history this year, actually. There are now officially 3 women on City Council. How does that make you feel?
You know, and I hate to make this about, you know, men versus women, because it shouldn't be, but you know, in reality it is. Since 1871, long before women even had the right to vote, men held these positions. This will be the first time since 1871 that women have had the majority on council, and I am humbled and honored to be a part of that. I can't tell you. I just can't tell you. I think that's the thing I'm most giddy about today.
It's a huge accomplishment, and it's a rare one as well.
Yes.
Not many cities, even larger cities, get that accomplishment. So more girl power for you guys.
Thank you.
So with all that being said, what do you think that says about Alpena voting in 2 other women now?
I think that it just shows that, you know, we're a progressive community. We're open to change. We're, you know, we think outside the box. We reward hard work, integrity. I just think that it's not so much about the gender of the person, and it shouldn't be, but women are starting to be looked at as capable of holding the same positions as men, and it's just I'm proud that Alpena has done this. Just proud.
Absolutely. And with Alpena being such a small area, what would you say for those younger women who want to be in a position that you're in, or have far bigger goals and bigger dreams than just, you know, staying around here, or whatever their goals are?
Well, I have one daughter. We have one daughter, and I've raised her to know that, or to think that there are no boundaries. Because if you think there are no boundaries, there are no boundaries. So there's nothing you can achieve. If somebody puts something in your way, find a way to go around it. That's what I would say to any young woman out there, no matter what her dreams or desires or what she would like to accomplish is. Just because somebody puts a roadblock in your way, and there'll be many along the way. There have been for me, and there will be for everyone. Find out a way to get around it, because you can.
Absolutely. And is there anything else you'd like to add for the city or for the people who voted for you?
I would just like to thank them from the bottom of my heart. The results are, they're humbling. They're just humbling when they came in. People a couple of years ago followed me because we wanted change. They put their faith and their trust in me, and I hope I haven't disappointed them, but yesterday they kind of told me that I hadn't. It's humbling. It's just simply humbling, and I thank them.
That's great. And starting from the beginning of your term on City Council, where do you see yourself growing now, from the very beginning to where you are now? Is there more growth, or do you think that you've reached your peak? And
No, I'm never going to say I reached my peak. I actually started on Planning Commission for the City of Alpena. I was there for 11 years before I was a write-in 4 years ago for this position, and won handily, I have to say, back then too. I will start these next 4 years, but no, this won't be the end for me, I hope. And as long as Alpena is willing to keep supporting me, maybe mayor will be next.
There you go. And what advice do you have for Amber Hess? She's also a write-in candidate like you previously were. So what's some advice you would give to her?
I would just tell her that entire city staff and the rest of council will be there to support her. There is a huge learning curve, and we've all gone through it. It's not something that's new to anyone, or she shouldn't feel alone, because we've all gone through that. But we're there to support her. We will answer any of her questions, assist her in any way we can, and staff's doors are always open to us. So I would like her to utilize that whenever she feels the need to have information. They will help you every step of the way.
That's great. It's really going to be exciting to see 2 new faces, well, 1 new face actually on the City Council.
And I do have to say, it's sad, it's kind of bittersweet to see Sean go, because he has been mainstay in council, and he also started on Planning Commission. He came years after I was, but he went to council long before I did. But I've enjoyed working with him. He's been a really progressive voice for Alpena, and he'll be missed on council.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Cindy. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, Amber Hess will be in the studio talking about being elected for City Council. Welcome back, everyone. Amber Hess joined us in the studio to talk about her thoughts for being elected into Alpena City Council. Let's take a look.
So first things first, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You must be really excited after everything.
I am. It was just very gratifying to win the election and to have such strong support in the community.
Right, and now there are 3 women on City Council for the first time ever. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's just wonderful to be part of history, really. This is the first time that women will be the predominant voice on the City Council since 1871, is when the city was founded. And I just think it's great to see more women in government in general.
Right, and what do you think that says about Alpena in itself, that they have now 3 women?
I just think that it shows that people trust that we can be the voice for them, and like I said, my campaign was really focused on positivity and trying to create, move things forward with a positive momentum in Alpena, and I think that spoke to people.
Right, and speaking of that, what are your plans, or what are your desires to better Alpena, or what are some changes that you see, that you feel that you can make?
Well, the first thing will be getting in there and just learning all the ins and outs of what it is to be on council. There's always a learning curve with any new position. I'm very excited to get in there and, like I said, learn all I can. I consider myself a lifelong learner, and we never stop learning, and that's important. And then just to continue with, like I said, the positive things that are happening. I think, working on economic development in the community, definitely, working intergovernmental relations, making sure that we have strong intergovernmental relations moving forward, and go from there.
The downtown area seems to be a very up-and-coming area. What are some positives you see with that, and what kind of direction do you think Alpena is going in?
I think the downtown of any community is really the heart of the community, and I grew up in the downtown. My mom opened a store when I was 10 years old, and so I've been involved as a volunteer and working downtown most of my life. And like I said, it is the heart of our community, and the entire community matters, of course. As a region, we're all part of Northeast Michigan, and our lives all impact each other. But having a vibrant downtown is great for the residents that live here, but it's also just a good draw, too, for tourism, which is going to be an important part of our economy moving forward.
Absolutely. And although you're from Alpena and you pretty much are familiar with the faces on City Council, how do you plan on developing relationships with your other coworkers now?
Yeah, I am pretty familiar with pretty much everyone that is currently on council and the mayor. I've worked with them sometimes on events, also just known them in the community. But I definitely look forward to getting to know them even better so that we have a good working relationship, and collaboration is key to success for, I think, any organization. And so I want to make sure that we all work well together and can make positive things happen together.
Absolutely, that's great. And what are some things in your life that have helped prepare you to be on City Council, whether it's education or previous jobs? Or
Sure. I have a background educationally, both communication, strong with the marketing side, as well as education and English. All of those areas kind of really do help me look at some of the part of marketing our community. That's one thing that's important, as well as different positions I've had. I've worked in human services now for several years. I work at Hope Shores Alliance now, and I've worked in a few other organizations in the community, and that really has helped me get perspective on some of the areas where people may have needs. And I think that's important, because a community is only as strong as those that need the most help. And so making sure that we can be a support for those in need, and then also just work together to make the positive things happen.
Absolutely. And speaking of working together, how important it is for you and for the other members on City Council to have a relationship with Alpena Township?
Well, I think it's vital. We're connected. We share our borders, but we're all one community. So regardless if someone lives in the city or the township, we're neighbors. And so it's very important that we have strong intergovernmental relations. And there's the Intergovernmental Council that is part of that, and I think that's great. And then also just reaching out in other ways, perhaps just to build a strong working relationship, because we said we will all benefit from that.
As you said, your campaign was really focused on all the positives. So what are some positives in all the success that you've had in your life and winning this election? How do you define success?
I define success waking up every day and just being excited to live my life. And that might be, part of it is your job that you're doing, and I enjoy work that helps give back to other people. But it's just the overall quality of life. Having family that is there, having friends, having community, having things of purpose. And I feel that both my work, my family, And then as well as now my position in City Council will all kind of contribute to having a purpose and my overall quality of life.
That's great. And where do you see the city of Alpena going and growing with all the new developments that are happening? Where do you see Alpena going?
Well, you mentioned the word growth, which I think is important. That's something that in the past we kind of weren't growing for a while, it seems. But now I think over especially the past several years, we've seen an upswing where there's more new businesses. We do see some more younger people moving back to the area, or either moving back to the area if they're from here, or just exploring it as a new town. So I think just building on that and trying to continue to grow. Like I said, we don't need to explode. We don't need to be Traverse City. They have their own thing. We have our own special charm, and I love that we're a small community that's close. But like I said, growth is going to be important to having a strong economy and having jobs for people here. And so I'm excited just to be part of that.
Absolutely, that's great. And what are your words to the people, who did vote for you, and the people who didn't? How can you, gain that trust to them and show them, I'm here, I'm going to be here for you, all these positive outlooks and outcomes that you have?
Right. Well, I want everyone to know, whether you voted for me or not, that I'm happy to be on the City Council and to represent you. And I understand that I represent everyone in our community. So I work to be accessible to residents. I know soon I'll have a city email that's not quite set up yet, but I'll be reachable there, and I'll let everyone know other ways they can reach me directly if they want to share a concern or share an idea. I'll be there to listen.
That was great. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, Sheriff Kalashevsky will be talking to us about the jail mill officially passing. Welcome back, everyone. We stopped by the Alpena County Jail to talk to Sheriff Kalashevsky about the jail millage officially passing. Sheriff, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So the mill has officially passed.
Right.
And a lot of people have been wondering how much work has gone into educating the public on the mill and the new jail site.
Well, we were in several places last month on almost a daily basis, both in the afternoon and in the evenings. We've gone to a variety of service clubs to get the information out to them. We were at a lot of the township board meetings to get the information out to them. And then we were, a couple of weeks ago, we had a open house at Alpena Community College where we wanted people to show up where we could inform them as well.
What is some of the feedback that you've gotten from the public on those presentations, and any comments, questions, or concerns that maybe people didn't know about prior to seeing the presentations? For the most part, it's been very positive. Everything that we got back was very positive, very, very little negative stuff. One of the things that we took around to the different presentations was a conceptual drawing of what the Sheriff's Office potentially could look like. And one of the biggest concerns that was raised to us was the flat roof. So again, it was all conceptual. May not actually look like that, but that was probably the only negative thing that we've heard. So what was the type of feedback that you guys had got from the public who hasn't seen the conditions of the jail, and now they're seeing it? What were their thoughts on it?
Well, we've got a lot of people, the feedback was they were surprised at the poor conditions that the Sheriff's Office is currently in, and the working environment and conditions that my staff have to work in as well. So.
Did you get any, personal things that people were just surprised to see here?
Well, we had a lady tour the jail who was so bothered by the conditions of it that she took it upon herself to write a letter to the Alpena News expressing her concern and encouraging everybody to pass the millage.
Wow, that definitely has a lot of impact, and what you guys did had a lot of impact on passing this mill. But what many people don't know is that for years now you guys have been talking about building a new jail. Now that it's finally coming into the works, how does that make you feel?
Well, obviously we're excited, very happy, and thankful to the voters for passing it. We've got a lot of work ahead of us yet, but it's going to be fun work and pretty educational for us.
Some people are still concerned about this mill passing, still a lot of questions, and people feel like they've been left in the dark with some things, although you guys have done a lot to educate them. One of the main things that we've heard is that people are concerned that prisoners from downstate will be coming here. Can you clear that up for people?
Sure, there isn't any validity to that whatsoever. In the past, when the newer section of the current jail that we were in, there was a lot of inmates that were housed from out of county. We housed a lot of Wayne County, Oakland County, and Port Huron County inmates. And we were paid to do that. The court systems have changed now so that the inmates are no longer there to house for out of county. It's really gotten to be very competitive between the sheriff's office, where I may charge someone $25 a day, another sheriff's office pays $20 a day. So there really isn't any money to be made, if you will, in doing that. And quite honestly, when we housed the Oakland County, the Wayne County, and the Port Huron County inmates, it was an awful lot of work for the staff and a huge liability for us as well.
And who will be held in this new jail? Surrounding counties?
Sure. So we'll be assisting Presque Hill County if Montmorency County has any concerns that needs any assistance. We certainly will help them. We used to house Iosco County inmates as well, but last year they got a new judge and a new prosecutor in, and they're doing things differently now, so they're not as overcrowded as they once were. If at some point in time they ask for help again, we certainly will look at that.
Absolutely. And what is your message to those who voted no for this bill?
Well, I want to assure all of them that we're going to obviously be as transparent as we were from the beginning of this. You know, I understand their concerns. Some of them voted it because you know, they couldn't afford that. I certainly appreciate that. And moving forward, you know, we're going to continue the openness, and we're going to do the job right, and we're going to make sure that they have something that they can be proud of.
It's very settling for some people to hear, obviously. And what are some of the, you know, technology or new things that will be in the jail? How many prisoners will you guys be able to hold and things like that?
Well, initially it'll be able to hold 106 inmates, but by putting some additional beds in some of the cells, we can go up to as many as 145 inmates. Some of the different things that we're going to do, you know, I guess it gives us a lot more flexibility, where right now we have to house our medium and minimum security inmates together, and that's a violation of the Department of Corrections codes. So having the bigger cells will allow us to keep all the different classifications separate. It'll be easier for us to with our women population as well, to house them and deal with any issues that come up regarding them. And so it gives us a lot more flexibility. You know, we're not going to have 106 inmates in the jail locally right away. But when we looked at all our statistical data over time, we saw a 20% increase in our population. And then we see a lot of different things going on with the Department of Corrections, where before inmates who committed felonies would go to prison, they no longer are. They're coming back to the counties, and the counties have to deal with them. So we have to be prepared for that.
And could you explain, a lot of people had said, you know, why not just ship these inmates elsewhere? Can you explain to the public, you know, how expensive that would be and what that would do for you guys ultimately?
Well, the sheriff is responsible constitutionally for running a jail. So it's something that we're all required by law to do. Again, if we were to house inmates out of county, it would be pretty expensive because we'd have to pay whatever that particular sheriff's office was charging us at the time. So we'd be at their mercy. Still be responsible for paying all the medical bills for the inmates and potentially any liability. And even with housing the inmates somewhere out of county, we would still have to operate a 24-hour detention facility, so that if a local agency brought somebody in, we could house them for a temporary purpose and then eventually transport them to a local place. It would probably cost us quite a bit of money on a daily basis to house those inmates out.
So you would say that as opposed to shipping these inmates downstate or wherever they would go,
people will be saving money with this mill.
It's more cost efficient, yes.
Great. So now, what is the next step for you guys? Or is there going to be a groundbreaking moment when you start building the jail? What's the next step?
So the next step that we're looking at right now is hiring some consultants that will be able to come in and assist us with getting out requests for proposals and requests for quotes from different organizations. We're going to need quotes from, obviously, contractors. We're going to need quotes from architects. And then we really need to look at that and dive down into what they're proposing and then make determinations from that. So I think the first thing we'll be doing is hiring a consultant to assist us with that, and then eventually getting the RFPs and RFQs out. And then I think that one of the things that we'll be doing as well is going out and looking at different jails to see how they're configured and what works for them and what doesn't work for them, and then coming up with a master plan as to how we're going to build the jail.
And will you guys be looking to hire locally for contractors and consultants, or how would that work?
That's always one of the top priorities. Yeah, absolutely. If we can do that, we will certainly do that.
That's great. And do you think that having this new jail could bring more job opportunities here to Alpena?
Well, there's a potential for us to hire more corrections officers. With the bigger jail, we're going to need more staffing for that. So there is that potential.
And for the location that you guys chose for the jail, why was it that specific location? Why is that location so great and so, a good area for the jail?
Well, there are several reasons why. First, the county owns almost 1,000 acres out at that location. So to purchase that property or get that property is a lot cheaper than going somewhere else at this point in time. The infrastructure is right out at that location. The location is about a half a mile west of Sportsman's Road on the north side of M32, so it'll be on the same side as the airport. Again, infrastructure's out there. It's sand, a lot of sand out there, so there isn't going to be any problems with rocks or those issues. So, and then when we looked at our complaint volume and compared it, we wanted to be centrally located to where our complaint volume is, and that is somewhere near the middle of the county. So for us to be able to respond, it'll give us a quicker response time to anything west of the county and potentially north and south of the county as well.
That's great. And what about this building?
Well, we were hoping to be able to put enough money in the budget to raise this building after we were out of here. We weren't able to do that. So the building will be sold as is, and it'll be up to whomever buys it to purchase it. I will tell you that there is an interested buyer in it. I can't go into further detail about that, so there is some good news in that potential buyer. There is a potential buyer out there. And I think I want to add on to that, if I may, because one of the things that was talked about quite a bit is, if this area is sold, what are the county commissioners going to do with the money that's potentially there? And I've talked with several of the County Board of Commissioners in regards to that. While I haven't talked to all of them, a majority of them are saying that money will go back into the jail project itself.
So that's good. This money's not, just going to anything else. It's going right back to essentially where it came from.
Right, and then hopefully reducing the costs for the public.
That's great. So what would you like to say to the residents of Alpena that did vote for this mill?
Well, even for, I guess every vote counted. So there were some areas in the county that we didn't do so well in, and areas that we did very well in regards to the vote. But I want to assure people that every vote counted. And again, to everybody, we will be building a facility that this community can be proud of. It's long overdue.
And when will this facility be built fully, and how much is the cost again?
Right now it's estimated to be anywhere from $10 to $12 million. I'm sorry, I didn't get the...
how many years will it take to be built?
Oh, okay. So we're looking at anywhere from, probably construction beginning somewhere in 2019, and hopefully being done sometime in 2020.
That's great. All right, well, that's all I have. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Well, that's all the time we have here on this episode of Insights, but be sure to join us next week for more.
Insights into Northeast Michigan is produced by WBKB News. If you have any comments, suggestions, or topics you would like to see on a future show, please email WBKB News. This has been a production of Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation. All rights reserved.